How to feel better after being ghosted. In this video, I'm going to tell you why guys ghost and how to recover from it with your self-esteem intact. It's Sabrina, your personal love advisor from A New Mode, the channel where we show you how love actually works. Okay, so my favorite ghosting story, and by favorite, I mean most absurd and ridiculous, was this guy who I'd been seeing for a few months. And I mean, in looking back, I was definitely way more into it than he was, probably because I acted pretty needy throughout the relationship. Anyway, he ghosted on me at some point and went like 2 weeks with no contact. I didn't hear from him at all. And then one day he called me, and before I even answered the phone, I had forgiven him. I didn't even hear the apology yet, but he wasn't calling me to apologize. He called me by accident, thinking he was calling the new girl that he had been hooking up with. So yeah, that was a fun experience. I texted him after just saying, that was really weird. I think that you owe me an explanation after, all this time we spent together. And I never heard from him again, ever. Anyway, in this video, I am going to explain how to get through situations like that or any other scenario where a guy ghosts you with your self-esteem fully intact, your head held high, without this chipping away at your sense of worth. So make sure you watch this video all the way until the end. Real quick, if you like this video and find it helpful, please give it a like, subscribe to my channel, leave a comment if you have any questions or any feedback. I try to respond to everyone. All right, let's get into it. Usually a guy will ghost to get out of a more casual type of relationship, but I've also seen guys ghost from really serious relationships. So this is a really pervasive problem. Out of all the topics I talk about, this one gets the most emotionally heated and charged reaction. And I fully understand why. It seems so immature, it seems so childish, and it seems so disrespectful. He couldn't even have the decency to call you and let you know that he no longer wants to see you. He let you agonize for weeks and weeks wondering if you were gonna hear from him. It just seems so mean, and it also just seems to devalue you and what you had. Were you completely delusional in this relationship? Were you in a one-sided relationship? If he didn't even care to break up with you, did he never care about you to begin with? You feel like a fool, you feel hurt, and you feel embarrassed. And you feel angry. You have all kinds of feelings, and it's awful. So we're gonna talk about how to make this experience slightly less awful. We're gonna really understand it from a guy's perspective. And I just wanna highlight here that I'm not being a ghosting apologist. I'm not excusing the behavior, I'm just explaining it to you. And this will help you to move on so that you're not bitter and jaded, and so that you really can find a guy who is right for you. So first, let's talk about why guys ghost. I'm not gonna go into this in so much detail because I have other videos on why guys disappear. So if you wanna know more about the psychology behind that, you should watch those videos. But in short, a man would rather walk over a bed of hot coals than tell a woman to her face that he no longer wants to see her. And he doesn't usually make the conscious choice to ghost. Usually what he tells himself is, I'll break up with her, but I don't wanna do it today. Maybe I'll just do it later in the week. Oh, but now it's the weekend, I don't wanna ruin her weekend. Oh, now it's Monday and she has a really big project due at work, so I don't wanna do it now. And then he kind of just keeps telling himself that until enough time has gone by where he feels like it would just be ridiculous to call you at this point because you've probably moved on, you probably are on the same page as him, and there's no point in having this whole emotional conversation about it. A lot of the times we just tell ourselves what we want to believe because that's just so much easier than having to deal with an uncomfortable reality. So he would rather believe that you're on the same page as him. You understand that the relationship would never work out, that you guys aren't a good match, so there's no point in talking about it. That's what he tells himself. Men aren't as comfortable dealing with emotionally overwhelming situations as women are. I'm just explaining what is. And here's the thing, before you get angry about it, women do it too. We also do this. The thing is, it's much harder to ghost as a woman because in general, the guy is the one doing the pursuing. We know that if a guy likes us, he's gonna call, he's gonna text, he's gonna ask us out. So we can't really just disappear unless you just completely ignore him if he reaches out to you, which I've never done that. But I mean, I remember this one guy, we went on 2 dates. There was nothing wrong with him. I just didn't like him. And I was praying this guy would ghost me just so I wouldn't have to have the uncomfortable breakup conversation. And I didn't hear from him for a few days and I was so happy. But of course, those kinds of guys are never the ones to ghost you. It only has to be the ones that you really like. So he called me and I just had knots in my stomach, and I answered the phone and he had no idea what was coming. In his mind, everything was great. We had 2 amazing dates and he was planning the 3rd date. In my mind, I was like, I wish he just could see what I saw, that this is just not a match. We have no chemistry. This would never work. Anyway, he had this whole plan about going apple nitpicking. And then when I had to tell him, I was like, look, I don't know. I don't really think this is gonna work out. He was just devastated and it was awful. Nobody ever wants to have that breakup conversation. Again, I'm not being an apologist. I'm just explaining it from both perspectives, because if you're honest with yourself, you know that you've done this kind of thing too, or that you dread having the breakup conversation. Okay, so now that we've talked a little bit about what's going on in his head, let's talk about how to get your head in the right place so that you can move on from this without being jaded. Number one, realize that it's not because you were insignificant. The real pain that we feel after being ghosted is not a broken heart, it's a bruised ego. It hurts that he didn't care enough to give you a proper ending. The biggest mistake you can make is just assuming that he ghosted you because you didn't mean anything, because you weren't even worth having a breakup conversation with. This isn't reality. These are your deep fears talking. A lot of us have these unconscious fears of being unworthy and unlovable. And that's something that we feel deep down. It's not something that's on the surface. And the subconscious is always looking to prove itself right. So when something like this happens, it pounces. Your subconscious mind pounces on it and says, see, I told you you weren't good enough. I told you you were unworthy. I told you that no man is ever gonna like you back. I told you you're gonna end up alone. And you kind of feed into those feelings. And that plays into your feelings of self-loathing and of worthlessness. But that is not what's going on here. Feelings aren't facts. Just because you feel a certain way, just because you feel like, well, if he just ghosted me, it must mean because I meant nothing to him. Just because you feel that doesn't mean that that's true. The fact is, most men are just better at compartmentalizing their emotions than women are. A guy can just put something in a box and push it to the side and just tell himself, okay, it didn't work out with this girl. It was never gonna work out. What else is there to think about? And so he doesn't think about it. It doesn't mean that he never liked you. It doesn't mean that you are just unworthy of love. That's just ridiculous. And I hope that you could see that for how ridiculous that is, because all of us have been ghosted, and that does not, pretty much all of us. And if you haven't been ghosted yet, it's coming, because it's just a fact of life at this point. Does that mean that every single woman on earth is unworthy and unlovable? No, it doesn't. It just means that this guy wasn't the right guy for her. Number two, don't reach out to him. I know you want closure. I know you think that you need the closure in order to move on, but here is what you need to realize. He can't give you the closure. Trying to get closure from him is a complete waste of time, because either he's just going to ignore you, so you're gonna reach out and you just won't hear back from him, and that's just gonna make you feel even worse. You already got ghosted by this guy, now you're reaching out and he's intentionally ignoring you, or he's just gonna give you an unsatisfying answer. What you're not gonna get is a detailed explanation about why he no longer wants to see you. The reason you're not gonna get this is because he doesn't even know the reason most of the time. For my articles and my books, I have interviewed tons and tons of guys, and of course I always ask about this, and most of them say the same thing. Sometimes it's something tangible, sometimes it's something like, I just wasn't attracted to her, I just kind of found her personality a little obnoxious, I didn't like the way she treated people, whatever. But most of the time the guys say, it was just a feeling. It was just a feeling that I didn't think it was gonna work out with this girl, and that's it. And that's not satisfying. A woman is not gonna take that and run with it. A woman's not gonna accept that. She's gonna say, what do you mean just a feeling? Let's talk about it. Let's figure it out. Let's figure out how to make that feeling, because women are fixers and your brain is gonna go into overdrive. You're not gonna feel satisfied and you're not gonna be able to close the book on this with an answer like that, even though that's most likely what's going on. And if he does know the real reason why he no longer wants to see you, he's not gonna tell you because he doesn't wanna hurt you. So you're basically not gonna get anything out of having this conversation with him. You can give yourself the closure here. Closure means that it's closed, it's done, it's finished. And the fact that he ghosted you is all you need to know. That is all the evidence you need that this is not the right man for you. And that brings us to number three. Some people just aren't a match, and that's okay. It feels personal, but it's not. You feel like you must be fundamentally flawed. You feel like you must be lacking, because why didn't he want you? You wanted him, why doesn't he want you back? The thing is, for a relationship to work, both people need to want to be in the relationship. And if he doesn't want to be in the relationship, then that's it. There's nothing else to fight with here. The right man for you is a man who wants to be with you. If he doesn't want to be with you, it just means he's not the right guy for you. And this could be for a variety of reasons. I'm sure you've dated guys who were wonderful on paper. They checked all the boxes. They were attractive and nice and smart and they treated you well, but you just didn't want to date them. Maybe you just weren't attracted to them. Maybe you just didn't feel excited about going on dates with this person. I've definitely had that experience where, like you're getting ready for the date and you're just like, I don't even want to be doing this. I don't want to be wasting my makeup on this guy. I just don't even feel like it. I just want to go back into my pajamas. That's not the same thing as like when it's a guy you like and you're like, yes, I'm so excited, I can't wait. And you're thinking about it all day and you can't wait to like get ready. You've experienced that as well, I'm sure, where there was nothing wrong with the guy, it just wasn't the right fit for you. The majority of the time, that's what it is. And like I said earlier, it's more about your ego. It's not about the guy. If you think about the guy himself, I'm sure he's not so much far superior to any other guy that you've met. What's bothering you is the way that it ended and how it ended. And that is hurting your ego more than anything else. So that's really the source of the pain that you're feeling here. Guys can lose interest over all sorts of things. And if a guy loses interest over something small, he was never in it enough for it to work out. If a guy gets turned off because you use too many exclamation points when you're texting with him, he never liked you enough for this to go anywhere. When a guy really likes you, it takes a lot to talk him out of it. Number 4, focus on you. Instead of obsessing over him and how he's feeling and what he's thinking and what's going on in his head, just focus on you. Because you have no control over him. You have no control over his emotions and how he feels and why he feels the way he feels. The only person you can control is yourself. So focus on creating the best life possible for yourself. Spend time with people who make you happy and make you feel good. Do things that make you feel happy and make you feel good. Put your energy into that, because that is what's going to take you closer to having the love and the relationship that you want. Staying stuck on this guy who ghosted you is not going to do that for you. It's just going to make you bitter and jaded. It's going to make you angry at men. And that is just a poisonous vibe. That is a bad energy. And that is just going to push away the things that you want to have in your life. All right, so there you have it. That is how to recover from being ghosted. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it helpful. If so, give it a like, leave a comment letting me know what you think. For more relationship advice, go to anewmode.com and follow me on Instagram @anewmode. And I will see you guys in the next video.